Hey, good day, and welcome back to the exercise of the week with Charlie Marlowe, our exercise coordinator. Charlie, what you got for us today?
It's gonna be a fun one.
As always,
Yeah.
and especially the little different ones are your favorites.
That's right. Yeah. So we're back to the more non-traditional exercises, and so we've had some interesting ones. You know, we had the med ball slam, and that was pretty interesting. But today we're gonna be talking about the sled.
The sled. So that's gained a lot of popularity.
It
really
has.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, across all areas of fitness. You know,
Right.
just from athletes to just your general population gyms. And yeah, I'm excited. I think this is one of our clients' most favorite piece of equipment. If I had to poll everybody in the facility, I think everybody always loves a good sled day.
Okay, fantastic, man. Well, take us from the beginning. Where did this come about?
So the history behind the sled. This is also something pretty interesting. So it all started with the lumberjacks in Scandinavia.
Oh, no kidding.
So that's kind of where the sled was invented. And you think about it, I mean, these guys are chopping wood. What's the most functional thing for them to get the most out of their work, right? And so they're cutting up the logs, they put it on the sled, and then they push it to wherever they're trying to take it to.
Okay.
And what started out as, a job turned into, okay, how can we leverage this to be a workout? How can we leverage this to build strength?
It's funny. I was thinking like Alaska and sled dogs and this kind of stuff, but no, the dogs are doing the work in this situation. Well, the lumberjacks are doing the work, so that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you think about a lumberjack, they got the flannel shirt and they're jacked and got the long beard, and so the sled,
the brawny towel guy. I mean, come on, exactly. That's what we're looking for.
So the sled is a big contributor to that.
Of course, huge.
That's how the lumberjack got big, other than swinging the axe. And so, and so from there, it all kind of pours into the Highland Games, those kind of the guys that wear the kilts, and you start to see all these different types of strength performance-based movements that are a little more non-traditional than what you'd see in a typical powerlifting competition.
The big trees,
carrying the
logs,
and
stuff
stone,
like that.
Picking up the big stones. So the sled was another one of those. Another part of that competition per se.
Cool, awesome.
And so it started with the Highland Games, that's strongman type stuff. Then it eventually kind of went into CrossFit, and you start to see sled pushes there. And I mean, now it's highly used in athletic populations with football teams. That's a really big thing, is pushing the sled, and so it's really fully immersed in the fitness world now.
Very much so, definitely so. It's funny to me how a lot of these. It seems to me like a lot of these non-traditional exercises, like the med ball slam and the sled and whatever. It's funny because I think they come. It's almost like they come out of bar games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, basically, hey man, I bet you can't push that Packard around out in the and I remember there was a friend of mine, best friend in high school, his father, and this would be Wright's grandfather.
Okay.
Used to push around a Packard in his backyard to build his legs up for football.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. So, but it kind of comes out of that. And then all of a sudden, hey, there's some practicality to this, and so it's interesting to me how they evolve.
Right. Yeah. So I really enjoyed looking into the history of that exercise.
Yeah, definitely.
More to come. And so let's kind of dive into the benefits. Like, why is this good for anybody, right? Not just
especially
athletes.
These non-traditional ones.
Yeah, especially the non-traditional ones, because people might want to know, like, what's the point of pushing a sled?
Right.
Yeah, it makes me tired, but what do I get out of it?
And you think trainers got side bets on? Hey, watch, I'll get them to push the sled.
Let's see who can get to push their sled on their first workout.
Exactly.
So, so there's a lot of great benefits, and personally, I would say if I had to pick 5 pieces of equipment to start a gym with, I would choose the sled to be one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
And the main reason for that is you get so much variety out of it.
Okay.
So not only can you push it,
you
can pull it, you can do some rotational work with it, you can work your upper body. So there's just a lot of great functions that you can get out of just that one single piece of equipment.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I think because of that, it gives you a lot of great options to work with.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. Rather versatile. Well, break it down for us, man. What are we working here with this sled?
So typically when you're doing a sled push, we'll just pick that one for example, you're going to be mainly using your legs, right?
Okay, yeah.
Your glutes, you're doing a lot of hip extension, so you're driving through your glutes, you're working your quads, hamstrings. It's a great overall leg exercise, and there's several different ways that you can use it. You can load it up heavy,
right,
and you can train more of the strength side of things, or if you want to focus more on the cardio, more the cardiovascular conditioning, you can lighten the weight, but you can push it for longer distances.
Oh, cool. Okay, good, cool.
So again, a lot of variety there, a lot of ways that you can manipulate the weights and the ratios to get a different adaptation out of it.
Right.
And so, I like to mix it up a little bit of both, do some heavy days, do some lighter days.
Yeah.
They're great for kind of like an active recovery.
Yeah, of course.
You're not going to get really sore off of pushing a sled as if you were doing like squats or deadlifts.
You can, of course, load it up a lot of weight, but I mean, you can lower the weight down and basically create movement based, penetrating the muscle a little bit, but not doing a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, but not causing a ton of damage. And so it's great for just stimulating blood flow.
Sure.
Great for if you're feeling sore, try to push the sled a little bit, and you'll end up feeling better.
Right.
A couple minutes later. And it's a great option. And again, for kind of getting to the athlete side of things.
Yeah, definitely.
I like talking about that.
Your territory. Also, head of our athletes here, so that makes sense. Definitely.
So with the sled, why it's so awesome is because you get the perfect acceleration posture when you're pushing the sled. Okay.
Yeah.
And for an athlete, for my athletes out there, whenever you're exploding out of, let's say, a 40-yard dash, so you're in that low position to the ground, a lot of times you'll hear the coach say you don't want to pop straight up, because the lower you stay to the ground, the more you can project yourself forward.
Exactly.
And so the lower you are, usually out of that first 10 yards, you want to stay low as you can before you pop up. So you want to stay low. So what that sled is doing is it's training your body to stay low and to drive into the ground and to push yourself forward.
And activating those muscles also in order to create that. The other thing I like about it is that you're talking about that position.
Yeah.
And being in that low position. You can put yourself in a position, you can do a lot of glute and quad work without a whole lot of worried about your knee over toes problems, you know what I mean? Because you are leaning forward, you are in that slanted position. So that's another thing I like about it.
So it's great muscle memory, just the more repetitions you get in that stance, in that position, whenever it's go time, whenever the lights are on, you're naturally just it's gonna feel good. It's gonna flow a lot more easily. So great for athletes. I like doing that to work on some acceleration work. So we'll push the sled, kind of work on the form, if you will, for the first few minutes, and then we'll step away from the sled and we'll just work on the sprint mechanics aspects of things. So you start with the sled, kind of ingrain that pattern, and then step away from the sled, and with the idea of it carrying over to just normal sprinting.
Well, also, and look at you're seeing that we're showing the videos of here how you're actually doing the exercise, and you think about that position. If you're in a physical sport, think about rugby, football, lacrosse. Depending on how aggressive you get, possibly baseball. I don't know, but that's pushing a force. Pass blocking. I mean, you're in that position. It's replicating the sport. It's basically a sport specific exercise. Yeah. In that case, so definitely. Didn't mean to get you off subject.
No, so I mean that's one of my favorite ways to use it for athletes. There's several, but we'd be here all day.
Yeah, I understand exactly. But it's not just athletes.
It's not just athletes. So let's talk a little bit about like the rehab side of things. So we have a lot of clients that come in and for whatever reason they say, okay, I can't squat below. I can't squat. That's their thing. I can't do a squat, which we work with them on that, right?
Right. Well, I mean, vast majority of our clients come to us with some sort of minor pre-existing condition, whether they're coming to us for that or not.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, for whatever reason that may be, all right, if they don't feel comfortable doing a squat yet, we're going to work on that. Right. But we can still train the legs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't mean we can't work the legs. So what I love about the sled is that you can still get a lot of great benefit out of leg strength training,
right?
And still, maybe if you're not ready to do like a squat yet or a step up, we can get there, right? We're going to get there. That's a goal. But what can we do in the right here and now that's going to help you get there?
Yeah.
And so this is one of those exercises that, personally, I think you could start with the 5-year-old all the way to a 95-year-old.
Yeah,
you can push the sled. I
Absolutely.
mean, for the most part, it's super easily accessible to any experience level, any age range. And so that's one of the reasons I love it the most, is because I mean, I'm a big just lover of fitness, and I think that's just a great entry level exercise that anybody can get a lot of benefit out of.
And it can be fun. It's not it's not it's not you're not counting repetitions. It can bore people sometimes.
Right.
So,
I mean, some of our kids, that's. If you tell them to do a squat, they're going to get bored, right? If you tell them, all right, I want you to go push that sled down and back, they eat that up.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
they're all over it.
Yeah.
They're all over it. And don't limit it just to the kids. You know as well as I do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've got several, I mean, who I'm thinking of right now. She loves a good sled day. She loves a good sled day.
Definitely.
Yeah, and like I said, 5 to 95, they love it. It's a great workout, but also it's fun as well.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
So now let's talk a little bit about just some tips, right?
Okay.
Just some ways to work this sled into your workout. So with like I said, you can load it up heavy.
Right.
So that's a great way to start. If you're wanting to work more strength, you can load it up heavy.
Right.
Another one is doing like sled sprints. So okay. So a lot of people, as we get older, we don't sprint that much, but using the sled almost as an assistance, because you're pushing yourself forward, you're pushing the weight, but also it kind of gives you a little bit of something to hold on to, right?
Well, exactly. It's like somebody walking in an analogy. Somebody that walks with a cane when they get in the grocery store, they put the cane away because they've got the grocery cart to hang on to.
Exactly.
And so you're basically not. Balance is not as much of an issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about falling.
Right.
As
exactly.
we said on the podcast before, walking, running, all it is a controlled fall.
Absolutely.
And so to be able to have that sled that you're holding onto, but still propelling yourself forward, using those type 2 muscle fibers, working that explosiveness, is a great way to continue to do that without having to have the worry that, oh man, if I go too fast, I might fall over.
No, you're basically in a 4-point stance.
Yeah.
The whole time. So and like you say, at that point, that would probably be thinking with all the seniors we work with. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that would be the consideration that they have for moving faster and really not shuffling their feet because of the fear of falling.
Right.
If you're able to balance that out, then they're going to get more aggressive with their motions and what have you. So, so that'd be a great way to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can pick your feet up higher. You can move them faster. And so I think, just for working that side of things, getting them moving faster, I think is a lot of great carryover.
Definitely.
And then on the upper body side of things, as we talked about, the sled is not just for your lower body. You can use
you
your
said it was
upper
one of
body.
the 5 pieces of equipment that you would start a gym with.
Right.
So because it's so versatile.
So if you train here, you're familiar with the TRX straps, right? So
suspension training straps or whatever.
Suspension trainer. So you can actually unclip the TRX straps and then clip it to the sled.
Oh wow!
And so from there, I like to do. You can do some rows with it. So row in the sled to you, and then take a few steps, row it again. So that's a great way. You can do a push with the sled actually. So you can. Takes a little bit to rig it up, but if you do some bands, you can actually do a sled push with your arms.
Right.
Another one I like to do is grabbing the TRX straps. So I got those hooked up again, and you do kind of like a cross body, like core twist. If that makes sense. So you're coming across, so you're working a little bit of that rotational plane, and so. Again, it's not just for lower body. You get a lot of great benefit from the upper as well.
Well, also, and just doing a sled, just doing a sled push, you're going to work chest, shoulders, triceps. You're going to get some work in there, definitely. If you're doing a sled pull, I mean, even if your arms are straight, you're going to activate lats. You're going to activate rhomboids. You're going to activate biceps. Everything, the upper body is involved, definitely so. And the anaerobic capacity benefit is fantastic, especially when the weights are heavier. But I guess you could even get an aerobic benefit to it. You lighten it up enough. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I've seen some people do a sled walk for over a mile.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Again, it's really light, so you're not.
Exactly.
But over time, it accumulates, and you start to feel the effect. But
right.
I think, I mean, there's a lot of great ways that you can program it and get a lot of great benefit.
Rather versatile piece, and you think about it. We talk about these. I call them odd. The odd, the exercises and what have you. But it's amazing to me because the first thing, the creativity of the history of how it came about, and the creativity of taking this and making it into an exercise. But the ones that are a little more outlandish seem to have multiple benefits. I mean, many, many more benefits to it. Like we talked about in the bed with the ball slam. You mentioned 1 minute ago, which I'm sure we've got coming up soon. Stay tuned on the exercise of the week. But suspension training.
Yeah.
I mean, the versatility of it, simplicity of it, but when you have to really start working your brain on trying to make this thing an exercise tool, wow, the versatility.
Yeah.
Look what you just did with the sled. The one I hadn't thought about was the seniors and getting them to walk better and whatever, just because you're building your confidence because you're putting them into a balanced state. That's awesome. That's fantastic. I'm stealing that one.
Go for it. Anytime.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you have any more questions about this particular exercise or any others, or if you want to have us go over an exercise, know the history of it, this guy loves this stuff and he's really good at it. But break it down to why we do that. Why will we do those kind of exercises? What are they actually for? It doesn't matter what it is. Give us a call. Call us at area code 251-278-3343, or reach out to Charlie at personaledgefitness.com. He'll be more than glad to handle any questions about any exercises for that. But if not, hey, stay tuned. We got many more coming. New exercises, different exercises, why we do them. Thanks, Charlie, for being on here, because this is one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.